Cursillo means to me renewal and encouragement.
Through Cursillo and through the love that surrounded me at Cursillo, it became apparent that I could do anything as long as God was there to help me.
And I couldn't believe the love that I received when I first came here. It was unbelievable.
And in these 3 days of the weekend, in this bubble, I felt the love that came through from everyone there. I thought, this is it. This is what Jesus is talking about.
Cursillo began after the Spanish Civil War, when the whole of Spain was really in some disarray, and it was decided that there was a need for some rejuvenation of people's faith. So it was a way of getting people together and making faith a real part of their lives. So it began in Spain, and then after a while it was still part of the Roman Catholic Church in those days, and it went from there over to the States, where the Anglicans took it over or branched out, and then they brought it back to the UK, initially I think to Gloucester and Canterbury, and then each diocese then gifts it to a different diocese. So Cursillo is done very much on a diocesan basis with the blessing of the bishop. And from here it's gone around the world, and now most countries in the world have Cursillo in their own versions.
If you ask someone who's attended a Cursillo weekend to talk about it, they don't usually need a lot of persuading, mainly because it's an amazing experience and also often life-changing.
It begins with a weekend away and retreat, and during this time you are surrounded by love and affection, and you're able to look at your faith, you're able to see the shortcomings and offer these to God. You're able to question yourself, and it's all done in an environment of complete love and understanding.
It was quite a surprise that there was something that you could go on to, because what you tend to do as you grow in faith, you tend to look at it as more or less a straight path. It just sort of goes on and goes on and goes on a bit more, and then suddenly somebody says, what about Cursillo? What? It's not until you commit to it, that you go to the weekend, that you realise there is just so much more, so much to turn you inside out and refresh you and deepen and widen your faith and your application of faith.
And found it just the most wonderful experience. There I found a living example of unconditional love, which transformed my understanding of myself, so that I learnt that who I am is more important than what I do. And that's been very releasing, and I've since then over the years learnt to love myself as well as love my God and other people.
My weekend came a few years after my wife had died, and I was sort of reshaping my life, and God was in my life a little bit but not much, and I just felt he was calling me to do this Cursillo thing, and I didn't know why, but I'd heard about this weekend, and it involved going away with a group of people you didn't know, and a retreat and all those sort of things that at the time were an absolute no-no for me. But I just felt it was a strange thing. I just felt I was being called. I knew Jesus had said that he wants everyone to love each other. We all know that's his main call to us. And I understood when I got there what he meant, because you're in this bubble for the 3 days, and you were just surrounded by love. It's hard to explain, but I thought, this is it. This is what Jesus wants for us in our life, this love of each other. So it was a fantastic experience in that way. And through that, through the talks and everything that happened and the people I met, that considerably deepened my faith.
I was blessed to be sharing a room with someone that was a Cursiester. So the whole of that time afterwards was spent with someone that could encourage me after that. My husband did his Cursillo at a later time. Again, it was God's timing. He was meant to be doing it with another friend from the church, and they were going together. They dilly-dallied about deciding they would do it, and then they both decided, yes, we will do it this time. I have to say that when that happened, the Cursillo was full. But Stuart, who was the lay rector for the weekend, rang and said, I've managed to sort rooms and I can take one male person. Would Janet be happy if Eddie came and did his this time and she had to wait? And they discussed it, and yes, they were fine about it. And I have to say that was God's timing for Eddie to do his Cursillo, because it prepared him for his death. That might sound strange to you, but I did lose him to an aggressive prostate cancer. But God's timing was right, because he came back from his Cursillo saying that he'd been like Merle in The Wind in the Willows, that he goes to church every Sunday, he was there, but it was like being that Merle coming through the tunnel out of the dark into the light to truly know God's love for him.
And having been on Cursillo weekend, I realised that the Anglican Church could be joyful and it could be celebratory. There was a lot of commitment there, and it was fun and enthusiastic. I think probably the biggest word for it all is enthusiasm. And so I felt, yes, I could continue on that journey towards becoming an ordained person in the Church of England. So that's really what Cursillo did for me.
But then, of course, Cursillo isn't just about the weekend. The main part is the fourth day. Now, this is 3 days in retreat and the fourth day. The fourth day is the rest of your life outside in the world with God. Yet you still need encouragement. You still need nourishment. Jesus said to Peter, "Go feed my sheep." Well, we're all sheep. We all need to be fed. And we need to feed each other too. So we get together in small groups on a regular basis, and we talk through what has gone in our lives, good things where we've seen God working, things that haven't gone so well, giving ourselves encouragement once again in an environment that is not critical at all, but encouraging.
It's been an absolute joy to be a part of the Cursillo movement, because people who are Cursiesters, they know God, and because they know Jesus, they're happy people, despite all the difficulties that they have in life, just the same as everybody else. But it's such a pleasure to mix with them because they're positive and they're happy. And I would also say to any priests who may be listening to this video, that if you are looking to get a team of people together to work for the church and to work for you, then get yourself off to a weekend and start recruiting people from the Cursillo group, because they'll be brilliant for you and for the ministry in your area.
We get given circumstances that prevent us from coming out of our cocoon, whether it's our own lack of self-confidence or people preventing us from being actually who we are. But God never wastes an experience. He gives us the opportunities to develop those experiences so that we can fight out of the cocoon and spread our wings and fly. Fly the life that God intended us to live, the fullness of His life, the fullness of opportunities which He provides for us. That's what Cursillo is all about. It's about embracing us who we are, developing our gifts and strengths, nurturing us for the future, so our flight with God is so much more fulfilling and rewarding, so that His kingdom will come here on earth, now and forever.